and welcome to one and all to the Tuscan Urban Farmstead again. This is really yuck, looking horrible, isn't it? I've just realized one thing right now. Now you're seeing a huge mess here, and that's all right. It's not too much all right because today is Friday. It's already 4:30 and I gotta hurry up, but I really wanted to come live and show you this. Friday for me is preparation day because when sun goes down, it's Shabbat. So no more work from that moment onward until sundown the next day. So one thing I really wanted to show you though, in washing out the wool, I've come to realize just how much easier it is to actually really even get all of the burrs out. I'm hoping you can see this properly. Like for you to get the burrs out of the wool as you go with your hands in, this horrifying water. So here, this is, that's it. That's sheep shit. Right, so anyhow, by washing it out by hand very diligently, as if you were washing your child's hair, or your own hair for that matter. Let's say a lot of junk got in your hair. What would you do? Rip it out, or would you gently wash it out, like keep it in the water where you can really, where the being in the water really helps loosen it up. So I just want to show you that right now. Let me find, here we go. See, like if I'm trying to pull this burr out like that, it's going to really be annoying, and I'm going to lose a lot of the, I'm going to rip a lot of the wool away with it, right? Whereas if I just put it in the water and gently work it like that, it comes free almost completely by itself. Now some of them have more wool attached to them, some have less, but it's really like you want to be working away from where the wool was sheared off towards the end, and you can actually only really manage to do that if you keep your hands, here's another one that's pretty stuck, only if you keep your hands in the water. Now you can't see very well, of course, because the water is super muddy. Let's say that. Let's say it's muddy. But like loosely, see here what I'm doing? I'm just loosening it up little by little, and there you go. Almost no wool attached to it compared to other chunks that I was doing before. So it really does pay to go through the motions of a more tedious work. And I was just thinking how, like, I actually have a lot of patience with doing this kind of work, and it really helps you to focus, to develop that self discipline that we are lacking so much of nowadays in this hectic world. So it's all fun and good and great to be doing other types of self-cultivation like meditation and so forth. However, I wonder what that's a really long strand from one of the other sheep for sure. Anyhow, self-cultivation comes a lot, self-discipline comes a lot from using moments of doing tedious work like this to really be meditating. That means pondering on the deep questions of your life in the moment. Today has been one of those days where I'm finally feeling good enough to be getting up and doing so much of the work which otherwise I'm I'm normally just too sick to be physically sick. I'm battling with God knows which of my 10,000 symptoms, migraines, auras, and I'll just stay at those two. Oh yeah, my fabulous, the most physically impairing of my various symptoms would be when I'm having the migraines and when I'm having my back pains. But anyhow, so today I got up and I'm like, yay, see, that one came off really clean. So today I'm just like, yes, get as much done as you possibly can today, because you never know when the next time that you're feeling bad is going to set in. And so I'd really like to also use this moment to be, I've had people, unsupportive people, tell me stuff like, I've never seen anyone do as much as you do. The problem is that with all of your doing, you are equally good at undoing. Now that is not very supportive, is it? And it's very much putting the blame on you for a whole bunch of things. Now, of course, we all got to take responsibility for those moments in our life where we are actually the main reason of our own demise in certain situations. However, really, the Bible says, whatever your hand finds to be done, do it with all your strength. Because you don't know if you're going to be gone tomorrow or by the end of the day. So, now, of course, don't push yourself to exhaustion. As long as you're feeling the energy, especially if you're battling with autoimmune diseases of any sort, I'll call it autoimmune. I have my own theory for the autoimmune, which I inherited from that fabulous neurologist who I'm constantly talking about, neurologist and psychiatrist, wonderful little old lady. But let's just leave that aside. Whatever your physical, mental condition may be, stop using it as an excuse for yourself, and at the same time, you got to find a balance between using it as an excuse. Like, don't use it as an excuse unless you have to get out of a really ugly situation. Then it's always fine to use it as an excuse if you have to keep yourself safe from people who want to be ruining you or annoying you or causing you trouble. The thing is to not accept for yourself an excuse, not even if it is true. So without bashing yourself, but really doing the best you can, the most you can throughout that day. Once you've finished the day, instead of telling yourself stuff, instead of beating yourself up for everything you didn't manage to do, count how much you did manage to do. And in that how much you did manage to do, of whatever, like, be strict with yourself, yes. And at the same time, what is done is done. No point beating yourself up about it. The other day, I could have started doing a whole bunch of stuff, because I did feel good enough to get up. Instead, I sat there most of the day enjoying my finally feeling good enough to sit up, get dressed, and you know, do some small little basics around the house. And then sat there watching my favorite Chinese TV dramas. And, which by the way, yes, because I like it, but it's also my way of learning Chinese. You know, you don't have, there's more than one way to learn something. Find the way that's most enjoyable to you. So at this, on the one hand, yes, be strict with yourself, like, but also allow yourself the time to just be thankful that you can finally get up and move around. And, you know, no one's running. Everyone wants to make you think that there's deadlines. You know, deadlines only count for when someone is really dead. That's the only deadline that really counts as far as I'm concerned. Anything that you're missing out on right now, there's probably a reason for it. Actually, if you are sick, you want to avoid people. Like if you are sick and you realize that you aren't able to really interact with people properly, like when you realize that you are more prone to misunderstanding people, and it's not only that other people misunderstand you, it's also that you yourself are very prone. Like I know last week I had to get up, I had to push myself to go and do certain things, and I'm pretty sure I misunderstood some of the people I interacted with on those days that I was up and about. So there's times where you really have to push yourself, and when that happens, cut yourself some slack and really try to control yourself. Try to take mental hold of your thought processes. And if you feel that you're getting upset at the way people are showing up around you, and you know that you are not feeling well, do your very best not to react to any of that, and to not to react to any of that, or, you know, feel whatever the negative emotion is that's coming up for you. Try not to bring it up with the people around you, because, you know, just because you're a person who is capable of introspection as much as of taking into account what's going on around you from an empathetic point of view, doesn't mean that other people are capable of doing the same. More likely than not, they won't. Some of the people I interact with, they really do. When they pick up on the fact that I'm not feeling okay, they take advantage of that like hell, to be trying to get under my skin. The greatest victory you can have in those cases is not to flinch and not to wince when they do that kind of thing. Put on a poker face. Especially when you're not feeling okay, put on a poker face. Poker face doesn't mean you have to pretend that life is all roses and flowers. It means you keep a straight face, one which doesn't demonstrate any upset, nor any, you know, if you're giving someone the cold shoulder, because of the way they treat you, the moment you give them the cold shoulder, they know that they got at you. So also that, it's giving someone the cold shoulder is a sign of defeat. Actually, it is not moral, it is not any kind of superiority. it is a sign of defeat. Now, not acknowledging something they will say or do is one thing. Not acknowledging it, or just like giving it, or maybe just simply acknowledging what they're saying, giving a nod to whatever it is they're saying, or even saying thank you for something negative they're saying. Like, when was it? Some time back, there was this one woman who I was telling them of what I'm doing with this wool. And this woman decided to be my, you know, to put me in my place, to count the pennies in my pocket for me, and say, oh my God, isn't that a waste of water? Well, good for you. You can pay the water bill for, you can pay so much water, the use of so much water, if you're going to be doing this kind of work. Oh, I just like, yeah, water bills aren't really, I just answered, yeah, water bills are a problem. You know, someone wants to get into your space. Sometimes the best thing to do is just acknowledge. Like, after I responded, I don't remember exactly what I said, but anyhow, I did not respond, not flinching and not wincing. And afterwards, they apologized. Well, I don't know how much of a true apology it was, but still, they're like, "Oh, I'm not trying to tell you how you should live your life." Damn right you are, but you know, it's like, "Oh no, it's okay. No, it's okay." You know. So yeah, and here we are. I don't know where I'm going with this discourse. Well, actually I do, but still. I'm getting kind of tired right now. I've been up and at it since 10 this morning. Non-stop since 10 a.m. And I'm so proud of myself that I finally managed to do so much stuff around the house. And finally back on to doing this stuff, which needs doing. Because I got, yeah, there's another sack right there. And yeah, this is the same wool from 2 weeks ago. That's what happens when you get sick. That's what happens when you can't do stuff. What you gonna do about it? Get all upset? Nah. You adapt to your situation, and you cut yourself some slack, and you don't worry about it too much. Now, if you have some people who can help you out, if you have a bigger working space, great. But you know what? Looks like we're heading towards some very hard times. So that's one thing. See any difficulty as your training ground. You are getting trained for overcoming whatever that is. I was thinking today as I was going about taking care of all of the various things around the house. I was thinking that one of the hardest things I had to do when my son was being bullied here in junior high, one of the hardest things I had to do was step back and not intervene anymore. Like the first year, he was brand new here in this town. Like we were brand new in this town, this part of the town that is. The school, this school, because he was going to the other school before then. But anyhow, we were here, brand new down here, and he was in first year of junior high. And the kids here in this part of the town were bullying him. Well, more than this part of the town. It's like it's 3 towns which pretend that they are the same one. That they are the same, that they belong together. They don't. It's 3 completely different districts, but anyhow. And so practically first year, his schoolmates, first and second year, but not always, but anyhow, his schoolmates were really mean to him, and there was a lot of bullying going on. And he was such a good boy, man. He would go over to this elderly woman. She was a Jehovah's Witness, but she was pretty much on the blind side. So before coming home every day from school, or sometimes he would come home, leave his bag and run off, go over to her place to read the daily scripture for her, because she couldn't read it, of course, being practically blind. And so anyhow, but sometimes he would come home super duper late because he would have to avoid the bullies who would try to ambush him on the way back from school. And sometimes these kids really took it too far. He'd come home crying that someone had done something. Like once he came home crying because one of them had kicked him in the back really, really hard. So I took him. I say, okay, where does this kid live? Over here? Great. So we went to this woman's house, to this kid's house. We knocked on the door. And I said, the mother answered, and I said, excuse me, I'm looking for your son. And is he home? And she said, yeah, I called him. And so I say, hi. So my son was with me, of course. I say, hi. Listen, I said, what did I say to him? I said, listen, now you don't know David very well because he's brand new here, but, you know, if there's any time, like he has his faults like anyone. If there's ever a situation that you need to clear up, you are free to come to my house and talk with me about it, with me and David together about it to solve the issue. Please never again kick him in the back like that. Now this kid in particular had a kidney transplant. Like he was, how old was he? 11, 12. He had already had a kidney transplant himself, so his mom was like kind of in shock about this, and she turns to her son and says, hey, what the heck is that? Don't you know how dangerous it is? You know what would happen to you if someone kicked you in the back and damaged that one kidney that you have? And so, yeah. So sometimes I would step in. There were other times where I stepped in and really scared the living hell out of some of the bullies. And my son he was so proud of his mama because she would step up and defend him like that. But other times, at a certain point, he started always whining to me about what was happening at school. And it was really one of the hardest things I had to do. Tell him, I'm sorry, baby. I can't step in all the time for you. You can't always come running home and hide behind your mom's skirt, you know. You're going to have to find a way to deal with this. And I'm glad I did that, because he did. Like, it was hard for him. He probably felt really abandoned at the time. But It was like I said, listen, if it's something really, really big and really bad, okay. But if it's other stuff, you're going to have to find your way to deal with it, because your mom's not going to be here forever. And I'm really glad that he did step up, take charge, find his own ways to be dealing with that kind of stuff. And I mean, some really dark situations had happened also. Like, he realized, he was the one kid in the school who had realized that what the professor was doing was not okay. It was predatory towards these kids. And I don't care the professor how sick he was. I don't care nothing. I mean, you as a grown adult, you don't get to pretend that you are, like, you don't get to exploit the moment, the moment of doing theater exercises to be talking inappropriately with kids that age, to be touching them and having them touch you. So, yeah. But anyhow, yeah, like, when you are doing these tedious kind of jobs, it's all fine and good to be listening to music and everything. Make sure that sometimes you use these moments to be pondering, thinking deeply of the world and the way you are interacting with the world. Sometimes we just can't do our journaling. Like, some of us who, like, I used to love doing my journaling, but sometimes when you're going, like, depending on the kind of ailment you're dealing with, sometimes focusing enough to write or even read is just too much. And so using moments like these to be learning something, for example, I spend lots of time learning I spend lots of like, I'm normally learning something. I'll be listening to lectures of various sorts while I'm doing stuff around the house. And so, yeah, that's pretty much where I'm getting at. Let's see how much more. Oh gosh, we have so much stuff to be cleaning up here. I think I'm gonna have to just, like, drain this out because it's getting later and later and later. I'm gonna have to just drain this out and leave it off until this part, leave it off until it's actually not too much there, but it's the tedious work. Oh my gosh. But anyhow, yeah, drain it out and leave it off until Sunday. Hopefully I will manage to pick it up on Sunday. So if I can't pick it up on Sunday, it's gonna be chaos. No, I'll find a way to pick it up on Sunday, little by little, maybe just one half a basin at a time. You got, I mean, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is the size of the next bag, and the ones that I have put away are a little bit bigger than these. So that's like at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got at least 10 more of these bags waiting for me to be working on them. So anyhow, and I gotta finish washing, sorting, making some space for me to be living decently my Sabbath. And so anyhow, that is all for now from the Tuscan Urban Farmstead, and ciao ciao.